I might find something cringy. Someone else might say, hey, come on, man. It's all right.
It's like sex and vulgarity. We know it. There is a line, and your heart tells you you've just crossed the line.
When I'm saying things about Arshad, no matter how nasty I get, I never feel guilty, and I never feel I've crossed the limit. Never. I feel great.
Once again, I'll tell you, Boman, there's going to be a knock on your door, and a man will go to come and kill you. Just let him do it, okay? If you have the flair for comedy, you will absorb. You will see humor in almost everything. Like I see humor in everything, literally everything. And sometimes there is a serious situation, and I have a smile on my face because in my head there's a stupid thing going on.
I saw the trailer of the show, and of course, I mean, I've got what's it about. But I wanted to do a conversation with both of you about comedy and what you think is funny. So, what are your first remembrances or influences of who did you think was funny while growing up? It could be on screen, but it could also be an uncle, a father, mother. Who did you think was funny growing up?
Present day, I find Arshad very funny. He is
and you're
funny.
Not talking about my talent. I just want to let you know.
I used to watch a lot of Laurel and Hardy Sunday morning, 10 o'clock matinees at the Alexander Cinema. And the whole compound used to go. The whole ilaka used to be there, literally. And all the kids would be screaming the moment their names came. And then, of course, Tom and Jerry and stuff like that. But over the years, there were many great influences. There was Danny Kaye, there was Mahmood Saab, there was Johnny Walker. Today, the 10 contestants out there, they were hugely funny. And they were surprising us. Also, I'd really like to believe, because it was so inventive and on the spot, they were surprising themselves.
People like Charlie Chaplin, of course, extremely funny, without saying a word. But there's a movie that I saw when I was a kid, which I would say I was influenced by, and I found it really funny. Was a film called Chashme Baddu.
Okay.
It had Ravi Baswani in it and Farooq Sheikh in it and
Dipti Nawal.
Yes.
You remember that?
Sahi Parag Singh.
I found that film very funny, and as a kid, but I just thought the whole concept of humor in that film was very different from what one gets to see. Coming down to this show, Sunil Grover or Cyrus or
Gaurav Gera.
These guys, and Akash and the one-liners and all these guys.
Where do you think wit comes from? Like, when someone asks me what did I get from my parents, I always say that I've got my generosity from my father and I've got my wit from my mother, because I've seen them like that growing up.
If you're a person who has a good sense of humor, pretty much that somebody in your family does have it. It's kind of hereditary. But I also believe that having a sense of humor or a flair for comedy is inherent. Either you have it or you don't have it. Yeah. If you're a serious person, you can't turn yourself into a funny person. Or a funny person can turn himself into a serious person.
My mom is very funny. She, even now at 94, she lagaws a couple once in a while, and they're hilarious. And even as a kid, when she would narrate a story, I think when she narrated a story, and she was a young widow, not to forget. And yet, in that all that confusion, she could hold an audience. When she told a story about a customer that she met at the shop, I mean, everybody would be falling off their chairs.
Observing people and talking to people, do you think it's a natural progression of how people become funnier and wittier because they're absorbing everything, and comics are essentially people who absorb everything around them?
If you have the flair for comedy, you will absorb. You will see humor in almost everything. Like I see humor in everything, literally everything. And sometimes there is a serious situation, and I have a smile on my face because in my head there's a stupid thing going on. Like all these guys that we talk about, the comedians, they really absorb. I mean, if you're hanging around near them, you shouldn't be surprised if they're going to mimic you, make fun of you. They will do it.
Yeah, I think Arshad again is making sense again early in the morning.
Boman, let's finish the interview fast. I might run out of my knowledge.
Sometimes most of comedy comes from someone being miserable, and somehow we get some strange pleasure out of seeing people falling, hitting themselves in the face. And that's slapstick, of course. But apart from the fact, you look at any sitcom, including Friends, all of them have problems.
Yeah.
Huge problems. Whether they are heartbroken and you'll find it funny, they don't get a job, you find it funny, they've lost their job, you'll find it funny. What is it? It all emanates mostly from someone's misery.
What would you say is the fine line between cringe and wit or funniness? Because it is a very fine line.
Every individual has his own thing. I might find something cringy. Someone else might say, hey, come on, man. It's all right.
It's like sex and vulgarity. We know it. There is a line, and in your heart tells you you've just crossed the line.
However, I'll say this when I'm saying things about Arshad, no matter how nasty I get, I never feel guilty. And I never feel I've crossed the limit. Never. I feel great.
Once again, I'll tell you, Boman, there's going to be a knock on your door and a man will go to come and kill you. Just let him do it, okay?
In all your years of doing comedy, what have you maybe
What do you mean in all your years? What do you mean? What kind of a statement is that? You're pushing the line. You're hurting my feelings. Yeah, okay.
What have you learned about comedy?
Boman has learned nothing. I've been trying to teach him for so many years.
But you say comedy can't be taught, so why are you wasting your time?
True.
I think that, there are so many inventive ways, and I watch different kinds of comedy. From Johnny Lever, I love Johnny Lever, how he observes life and how he makes even a, miserable situation, he puts a lot of heart into what he has to say. And I think the main thing about comedy is misdirection. You take somebody down this road and then suddenly from this side you get a slap. That's the whole idea of comedy. Surprise is a big element in comedy.
What do you want audiences to take away from the show?
There's excitement and humor at the same time. What they're saying will make you laugh, okay? And your excitement is to just keep watching who's going to crack first. Who's going to smile, who's going to lose. It's a very exciting format.
Watch the show, enjoy the show, take away, relax. So if this can in any way be a lovely little dose of medicine, I think we'll be very happy first. Then what Arshad says is absolutely right. It's a new form. It's a new form, and it's so inventive and it's unscripted.
Boman, do you realize that these guys are trying to make everybody funny, being absolutely stressful themselves? It's unreal, man.
Thank you so much for talking to me early in the morning.
Pleasure.
Started my day well.
Early in the morning, it's 11 o'clock.
He's making me the butt of his jokes, so it's time to go now.
No. I know I don't need you. I've got Arshad all day. So I can plug
I am here. He's been doing this for years.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.